Yes, all right. Welcome back to the Arsenal podcast and welcome back to the big January transfer opener this month. We have 8 weeks and we have to prepare for the January transfer window. I think for me, it is a window that is going to be a difference. It's a window that's going to show whether Arsenal is interested in the challenge for the championship, for the Champions League, or whatever kind of silverware we want to win. It must be the January transfer window. It must be reflected somewhere in our ambitions in the January transfer window. And this is the reason as to why I'm here. If my audio is okay, please let me know. If the audio is on, please let me know. Guys, we have a couple of targets in the January transfer window linked with Arsenal. Obviously, you guys know that. We have almost 10 players already linked with the club as we enter the last 8 weeks to the January transfer window. Arsenal is not a club that is used to spending a lot of money in the January transfer window, and you guys know that. Nathan says, great setup. Thank you, guys. Thank you, my bro. I'm still building the studio, so I think we are getting on very well. I'm still building the studio, so until it is done, it's not yet what I want it to be, but it is what it is. Thank you so much, Nathan. So the January transfer window, what I want from you guys is to tell me, who should we bring in the January transfer window? Who do we need to sign in the January transfer window? It's a very hard decision, both on Mikel Arteta, Edu, and the board. It's going to call for us to bring in, to spend a lot of money, especially if we are going to get the quality talent we want. Because if you look around, all the players that Arsenal is linked with are expensive talents, are expensive players. But we need to spend. Right now, it has already shown us that, if we get a defensive crisis, if we get one man down in that defense, be it David Luiz, be it Gabriel Magalhaes, we are already off to a crisis. Does that mean Arsenal should go for a defender in the January transfer window? But I'm going to be talking about the targets that we have been linked with, the confirmed players that Arsenal might actually pursue in the January transfer window. There are so many names on the list, from Houssem Aouar's interest to a couple of other names. And I want you to stay with me, but the biggest thing you're going to do for me is tell me, what do you think? Who is that player Arsenal must go for in the January transfer window? Who is that player that is quite, could be quite very essential to our January transfer window? It will be much appreciated. Your comment will be much appreciated, and I'll be reading it live as well. So I'll start with the Houssem Aouar. Now, of course, you guys know that in the summer, this guy was very close to joining Arsenal. Nathan says, "Can I join?" Yes, please. You can join. I'm going to be sharing the link. Houssem Aouar was very close to joining Arsenal. I think, apart from his agent that broke the deal and brought in a lot of disorganization, his agent asked for a lot of fees, in agent fees, and that's the reason as to why Houssem Aouar didn't join. But everything had been agreed. Personal terms had been agreed. I think Lyon was about to break down. For me, it was just a matter of time. It was just a case of time, and then we would sign Houssem Aouar. But we just didn't sign him for one reason: the agent fees. We couldn't meet his agent fees, and that was quite understandable. But it is also true that the problems that Mikel Arteta had foreseen in the January transfer window, those problems are still manifest at the club. Creativity, pushing the team forward, and all those problems. Probably if we had Houssem Aouar join the club, maybe there are things we wouldn't be talking about right now. Creating chances, going forward. You just can't explain to an Arsenal fan or to anyone that knows football, that understands, that has been watching football, that Patson, Xhaka, and Dani Ceballos are the midfielders that are going to force the team going forward, and then force the team defensive-wise. These guys are just too similar in common. They're just too similar. And for me, in my case, I think if we are going to progress this season, if we are going to save this, our season, we need a creative midfielder. We need a player who can go forward. We need a player who has that ability to take us forward. And for me, if we can go back for Houssem Aouar, it will be much appreciated. There are a couple of debates, people talking about Houssem Aouar, and some people believe he's not a creative midfielder. But by the fact that Mikel Arteta really doesn't want to use a number 10, then you think a player like Aaron Ramsey, a player like Houssem Aouar would be the right option. And this, lets me ask my question. We've let Jack Wilshere leave the club. We've let Aaron Ramsey leave the club in the past transfer summers. Sad Cazorla also left the club in the past transfer summers. All those are creative players in the midfield, but we never, at one point in time, brought in a creative player. We have Dani Ceballos on loan, who was also with us last season, and he didn't do anything. So for me, I think the best target, number one target for me would be Houssem Aouar. That would be the guy. For me, he would be the guy I would want to see in the January transfer window. But still under creativity, we are linked with a couple of other players. And the other, apart from Houssem Aouar, is Dominik Szoboszlai. Now, Szoboszlai is at Red Bull Salzburg. I'm very convinced, and I know you guys are aware of the presence of Dominik Szoboszlai linked with us. Now, I think this would be the third transfer market when he's linked with us, or a Premier League move at least, because he has been linked with Chelsea, linked with Manchester United, linked with a couple of other clubs as well. Szoboszlai is not a bad player. He's a young 19-year-old player. He plays with Red Bull Salzburg. He has a couple of, he's played in a couple of tournaments in the Champions League as well. I think he is still lucky, or Red Bull Salzburg are still lucky to have him, because last season, he's one of the players that had very decent statistics. I mean it. And I mean very decent statistics. He scored a couple of goals. He made a couple of goals. And if any team wanted him this season or this summer, I think it would be around 20-25 million pounds. By the January transfer window and the coming summer, this guy is going to be very expensive. Dominik Szoboszlai is going to be an expensive lad. But with the creativity issues we have, I think he would be a cheap option that would still work for us, because all we need is a midfielder that can ignite, that can lighten up our attack, that can create chances for Aubameyang, create chances for Pepe, open up spaces for Willian, lead the team into attack, which we do not have right now. Basically, the midfielders we have are quite more of predictable midfielders, flat midfielders. Of course, they are good at their thing. They are very good at their thing. Granit Xhaka is good at his thing. When you look at him play on the pitch, you're like, okay, yeah, he's not a bad player. Ceballos is not a bad player as well, but they do not have that sharpness. They do not have that fluidity. They do not have that, energy, the zeal to drive the team forward into attack. We have seen this, whether it is Ceballos and Xhaka, whether it is Elneny and Xhaka, whether it is Ceballos and Xhaka and Elneny, they just can't create chances going forward. And I think if we get a young lad like Dominik Szoboszlai, I know you guys are going to say he's still young and so on, but we have seen a couple of young players produce good quality. Just look at Cengiz Under against against us, Leicester City, against us, they brought in, Cengiz Under. This guy just, laid off a very, good piece of assist for Vardy. Vardy is in, of course, he's unmarked and he delivers. So the young lads are delivering, and they need to get a chance. Arsenal as well needs to believe in the young lads. So Szoboszlai, 20 years of age. I know by the January transfer window he will be around 21. For me, he's a good signing. If Arsenal can go for him, he's a good signing. That is the second man we are linked with. Creativity, still creativity. The third player we are linked with, again, with issues of creativity, is none other than Emiliano Buendia. Now, Buendia is at Norwich City. He's a player that we've been linked with last summer, as as last summer was closing, was closing out, we were linked with Emi Buendia as a possible player who could join us from Norwich to bridge the creativity gap, because I think Mesut Ozil, was already out of the plans of Mikel Arteta. Edu knew this, and Mikel Arteta both knew that this guy was not going to play for Arsenal, was not going to play football for Arsenal. And I think that is the reason as to why we tried so much to get a creative player, however much we failed. But it was quite very visible that this guy was not going to play for, that Mesut Ozil was not going to be included into the affairs of Arsenal this season. And of course, eventually, he wasn't included into the affairs of the team. But guys, honestly, if you ask me about Emi Buendia, last season he had very good statistics at Norwich. He created 83 chances. People want to join the stream. I'm going to be giving you the link. Just give me a couple of seconds. Just a couple of seconds. So, Emi Buendia, one of those players that had a couple of chances created last season. You look at, him, he created 83 chances at Norwich. If he's playing, because for a player to deliver, even the quality around him matters. It is true that Pepe may not deliver to their, to our full expectations because of the players around them. If we can get in the quality, maybe our talents could actually deliver more than we can, than we can imagine. So Emi Buendia, with the poor quality around him at Norwich last season, he created 83 chances. He was third in the league. If you brought such an addition to the club, he's an excellent addition. Cheap option, Mikel Arteta would go for him. And for me, I think it would be all over. The cries, the wars, the difficulty in creating chances at Arsenal will be all over. But until when we can take a step, we are still going to suffer, and Mikel Arteta knows this. Now, there are also two other players linked with the club, and these are strikers. One is Houssem Aouar. Now, Houssem is a striker, French striker playing with Celtic. He has been linked with Arsenal even in the last summer. He was linked to the club, and all of us thought, I thought, he's one of the right guys to bring in. I think for me, I love his playing style. I love his finishing. He's clinical. He's better than what we have. Obviously, he is better than what we have. If you get such a striker in the January transfer window, it could be a great addition, because Lacazette, guys, let us be quite honest, Lacazette is not going to provide what we expect of him. Now, I don't mean to seem negative. But this guy is quite disappointing. And you guys know that. The link is already in the comment section for people who want to join the stream. I think I should just let you guys come on. But Lacazette is one player that is very inconsistent. He has been inconsistent from the time he joined Arsenal. He has just proved that he's not the kind of player that we need. Eddie Nketiah, for me, is not the kind of player that you're going to trust to give you 20 goals in a season. Guys, look around us. Liverpool, they have a front three that can give you 60 goals in a season. Manchester United's front three, on paper, they don't look a threat. But when they start doing their things, man, they're gonna give you output. Martial, Rashford, Greenwood, and now they have it on Cavani. They have quite a decent front. For us, we are only depending on Aubameyang. And I said this in the transfer summer, that if Aubameyang is injured, if Aubameyang is out, if Aubameyang is off form, what do we do then? Get me? What do we do when Aubameyang is injured, when Aubameyang is off form? This is a time when we realize that now Aubameyang is off form. We need to bring in a quality player, but we don't have one. That means the goal shortages of Aubameyang are the same goal shortages of Arsenal. And a top quality club like Arsenal, that shouldn't be the case. One player not scoring, one player being out of form shouldn't mean that the club is down. Until when? What if Aubameyang never fires up this season? That means Arsenal is not going to fire up this season. For me, that is, that is just unexplainable. That is just unexplainable. Purpose is here, and I have him already. Hello, Purpose.
Hello.
How are you doing, Blood?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I've dedicated this stream to focus onto the January transfer window. I hope that is okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and for me, we are linked with a couple of players. We're linked with so many, and I do understand the reason, but I still think we need to decide who is the priority, who takes the priority place in the January transfer window, who should we bring on in the January transfer window. This is where I want to start with you guys. Zoom is on the show, Purpose in the show. Purpose, January transfer window, what are you looking at? What are you looking out for?
Well, the obvious is Aouar. We've been looking at him the longest, so it makes the most sense to go for Aouar. So yeah, I guess we need a player like to transition our midfield because we don't have that player. We like you said, we got too many similar players in the midfield. So yeah, I guess we need to bring in someone that can just make defense into attack, and I think that can be Aouar.
Yeah. Houssem Aouar. Of course, he's going to be an expensive option. You know that, especially in the January transfer window when Arsenal doesn't really invest a lot, and that is one worry. But if we don't get Aouar in the January transfer window, I suggest we might still have the same problems. Who would you go for, Purpose, apart from Houssem Aouar?
If we don't get Aouar, I'll go for Szoboszlai because I think like him, he's not similar to him, but he offers something different and he scores a lot of goals for a midfielder. And for me, I think that's what we need in Arsenal. We need someone that can score goals from midfield. So yeah, I'll go for Szoboszlai, and I think he'll be cheaper as well. So yeah, I think that'll be a good option. And as well, he scored yesterday. In the Champions League for Salzburg. So yeah, why not go for him?
Yeah, I think he's a wonder kid. I think he would have so much to add to us, and he would have so much to add to the club, especially at a time when we are lost, currently lost going forward. But I want to engage Zoom as well. Zoom us know, how are you, my blood?
How are you, Kosi?
I'm doing very well. January transfer window, I think 8 weeks away, but we still have so many problems, almost the same problems we had last season. What do you think we should go for? What do you think should be our target, Zoom, in the January transfer window?
An attacking midfielder, either Aouar or Szoboszlai, and a forward. Yeah. I would want to get Edward from Celtic, a proper number 9. Can play as a central forward, just like Firmino at Liverpool, and a good finisher, good aerial ability, and he's just the player. And Szoboszlai, for me, one of the best young prodigies. I'd rather get Szoboszlai. If you ask me, either Aouar or Szoboszlai, I'd rather get Szoboszlai. Cheaper, better. His set piece ability is just on another level.
Yeah, but the disadvantage with Szoboszlai Zoom is he plays like a number 10. He plays like a traditional number 10. You call him a traditional number 10. Of course, he has his own, his own advantages of at the game, but basing on Mikel Arteta's formation and style of play, don't you think Aouar would be the better player, the better option?
He would be, but Szoboszlai has got a 30 million release clause. Aouar has 60 million, about 60 million market value. So I'd rather get Szoboszlai and an attacker, because Lacazette clearly just doesn't fit the system.
Szoboszlai, £30 million. Of course, that is the cheaper option. I agree.
That's the release clause.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But going forward, talking about a forward, guys, do you think Alexander Lacazette? Should we sell out Alexander Lacazette in the January transfer window? I don't see him really remain at the club. And let me start with J7. How are you doing, J7?
Yes, Crossy, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on, first of all.
Yeah.
But in terms of Lacazette moving forward, I think he's losing it every single game I'm seeing him in. His quality is just going down and down and down. And with the chances he has had this season, most of them chances have been lucky. Let's be honest here. But I do agree with you. Well, I don't know if you said that we should sell him, but I think we definitely should try to sell him, because we know how January is. It's a hard time to get players in, let alone out. So I don't really know if it's going to be, especially for this Arsenal frauds. This board that we got is terrible, man. It's toxic. It's filtering down to the players. You can see it on the pitch. The chemistry is bad. The passion, it's not there. And I don't really know where we can go from this if we don't get in another midfielder, because losing Guendouzi, losing Torreira, obviously on loan, we're bare. We're naked right now in midfield. All we have is defensive midfielders, and the only good thing that I can say about Lacazette maybe moving on is that we have Martinelli coming in, hopefully.
Yeah, of course. Gabriel Martinelli is another option. Let me introduce in Papos. The forward line seems to be weak, especially at a time when Aubameyang is not delivering. We desperately need an option, a player who can take us forward, a player who can score goals when Aubameyang is not firing up, or if he's injured. Do you think Gabriel Martinelli is an option, or we have to go to the market in the January transfer window, Blood?
I think he is an option, because I remember when Aubameyang was injured, who was scoring the goals? It was Martinelli. Because I remember, like I said, Chelsea, Sheffield United, Aubameyang was sent off. Like, he had this red card against Crystal Palace, so he couldn't play those games, and Martinelli scored the goals for us. But yeah, I feel like we should sell Lacazette. If we're gonna play with one striker, we should sell Lacazette, and then we have Aubameyang as the main striker, and then Martinelli can come in. You know what I'm saying? So because Martinelli, he's not ready quite yet. He can develop, and then once Aubameyang, gets to that age where he can't play or can't produce as much as he can, but now, then we bring in Martinelli, if that makes sense. I don't think Nketiah is good enough for us. I feel like he should play in the Europa League or these cup games, because I'm seeing what he's doing on the pitch, for me, he just scores tap-ins. He don't really score anything else, and we're not a team that is just gonna pass the ball right next to the goal for him, so I feel like we need someone like a Martinelli who's gonna, change the game for us. He can impact the whole game for us. So yeah, I feel like we should use Martinelli when he comes back from injury.
Yeah, it's true. And there are also other options, guys. Zoom. Eddie Nketiah is not good enough. For me, he's not good enough. He's scoring a couple of goals on England under 21, but for Christ's sake, that is under 21, not the big Arsenal side with ambitions. But there is a player in the names of Florian Balogun. Of course, we are still struggling to give him a contract. It seems like Balogun is going to be, if we cannot tie him down to a contract, then he might leave in the January transfer window. What do you think about Balogun? What do you think about Balogun and Gabriel Martinelli, Zoom?
Balogun is one of the best. He's just one of the best. Prolific, has pace, good aerial ability. I'm not getting why we're not tying him down. I'm just not getting it. And I just want to know what's going on there in that board, because we're just seeing the shambles. Why aren't we securing
I think the signature of Balogun would be an excellent one, especially for Steve Bold's side, the under 23. But I still want to focus on the forward line. I want to focus on the forward line. I'll go back to J7. J7, this season, Aubameyang has played 6 games and scored only once against Fulham. One goal that was a hell cracker. It was a beautiful goal, a beauty of a goal. Ever since he signed his new contract and it was announced, the guy is just not scoring goals. Of course, he scored another in the Europa League against Rapid Vienna. I can't forget that. It was a winner after all. But how do you see Arsenal, J7? How do you see Arsenal without Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang? Do you see us as a club that can actually go 3, 4, 5 games without scoring a goal because of the absence of Aubameyang?
Well, to be honest, I don't. To be honest, with the whole system that we're playing right now, I know we're trying to focus on the forward line, but it's really coming from the midfield. Like, no one's making forward runs, no one's making runs into the box, which is not giving Aubameyang any space. Like, I feel like I don't know what Aubameyang is doing. I know his heart's still in it. I just don't think he's captain material. I don't think you can captain based off ability alone. But without him in a squad, even with him in a squad, we haven't been scoring. So. But I think that him being on the left wing is a hindrance. But I'll say this as well. Every single game, I see Aubameyang make at least 5 runs off the shoulder of the defender. And you know what happens? Forward, back pass, sideways pass. No one even picks him out. So I don't know if the awareness or the chemistry is actually there for him to flourish up top for us anymore, which is quite sad to say, if you know what I mean. But I don't know, man. As an Arsenal fan right now, it's a bit mad, you know what I mean? It's a bit mad, bro. It's a bit mad. Like I'm trying to be positive and objective and stay logical with it, but it's like it's just flat. Everything's flat. And I think I did mention earlier, it's like from the toxicity of the board, it's all filtering down, and this whole Ozil situation, it's making everything. I don't even know what to say. You know what I'm saying, Kosti? I don't even know what to say about it, man. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to even see.
Yeah, I do understand. I feel your pain. At least I felt the same pain against Leicester City because you have the ball for 45 minutes, half time. You cannot create decent chances to talk about. You have a striker in Alexander Lacazette. He cannot do something different. Aubameyang is down. Everybody at the club seems to be so down. And that's why I'm looking at the January transfer window. Probably it could be an option. It could be a savior for Arsenal. And all over, all of a sudden, we might actually just bounce back. But guys, there is a guy called Patson Daka, again, playing with Red Bull Salzburg. I don't know whether you guys have seen him. He's in the Champions League. Daka, I think he was playing with Erling Haaland, and then Haaland left for Dortmund. Before Haaland left for Dortmund, and now he's the guy playing with Dominik Szoboszlai. He's linked with Arsenal again. And another forward, another striker. I think he comes from Ivory Coast. I think it comes from Ivory Coast, something, sort of. How would you rate this? How would you rate this guy? I'll start with Purpose. I don't know whether you've seen Patson Daka Purpose. How do you rate Patson Daka? Would you let him come at us in the January transfer window?
To be quite honest with you, I've not watched this guy at all. I'm not gonna sit here and say I've watched him, but I think he's from Zambia, because
he's from Zambia. You're right. He's from Zambia.
So but that's the only thing I know about him. I don't know much, so sorry, I can't talk too much about that.
Okay, I understand. Zoom, have you seen Patson Daka play? Yeah, I think. Yeah.
To be honest, I have.
You haven't. Okay.
Yeah, I'm the same, brother. I've not seen him. I've not seen enough of him. I've really not seen him.
I haven't seen him much.
What I will say, he's got to be better than Eddie and Tekio. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man.
But I understand, but he's one of the quality players, very quality players that Red Bull Salzburg have, nurtured and brought on the scene of football in the recent, in the recent month, and I think he's going to make a big European move very soon. But there is £100 million deal. That is Philippe Coutinho, Barcelona, of course. He was in the news, linked with Arsenal almost every day in the summer. There was a time when I thought this guy was going to join Arsenal. Actually, rumors flew in that this guy had also, came to the Emirates Stadium and had talks with Arsenal and so on. But it seems that was a lie. This guy never, signed. I don't know whether he didn't sign because of the new management, Ronald Koeman, or because Barcelona and Arsenal failed to reach an agreement. But today, reports also claim that we might go back with 107 million for Philippe Coutinho. Now, that's a stupid, crazy deal. I wouldn't go for it. I wouldn't go for 107 million for a 29-year-old, however good he might be. But let us think this guy is coming on loan, right? Let us just think this guy is going to come on loan. I'll start with J7. J7, if you are given the chance to bring in Philippe Coutinho on loan at Arsenal, do you think he would impact us in any way? Change our season, sort of?
I think yeah. But maybe not in the way that we think. Maybe not as he might not have as much of an impact, but he might maybe have a 10% impact because he's great. He's great in them pockets. He's great off the shoulder of the defender as well. But where would he play in a sense of how could we get the best out of him? Would it be on the wing? Would it be in the 10 position? Would we sacrifice another position to get him in? It's kind of one of them at the moment where I'm a bit like, where would we sort of fit him in? Even though he could walk straight into the first team, obviously that's a definite right there. But where would he sort of go? Because where is he playing right now for Barcelona? Is it in the 10 or is it on the wing?
I think he's on the wing.
Yeah, maybe possibly if we scooted Aubameyang over into the center, he could play on the left wing and sort of play as like a Grealish type of player, like a inverted winger sort of thing, where he's a playmaker from the left, which could work for us. But at the same time, it would sacrifice what. Actually, no. Yeah, that could work. That could actually work. That could bang. I think that could work. But it's really about getting that transition game a lot better and trying to make passes through the middle, so to free up that space for me, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I still remember him at Liverpool. And I think he's one of those crazy talents I've seen in the English Premier League over the years. And I'm like, yeah, I really appreciate. Zoom, you've seen what Philippe Coutinho can do, at least at Bayern and Liverpool, because that is where his success has come from. Barcelona, I don't know the problem, but he hasn't had the touch. Would you see him as the solution, Arsenal, to the problems we have right now? Okay, I think Zoom has a problem. I'll bring him back as soon as he corrects. Purpose. Your thoughts on Philippe Coutinho?
Yeah, I think Coutinho, he's good. I don't think he's as good as what he used to be at Liverpool. Because I've been watching him. I've been watching him recently. He looks a little bit different. I'm not sure if it's because the La Liga is different or he suits the Premier League more. But I feel like he'll definitely be an improvement on our team. I think we one thing we've always lacked is, apart from Aubameyang, nobody else scores the goals. And for a midfielder, he does score a lot of goals. And I feel like that's someone I feel like we can bring in. Maybe on the left wing, it'll be better for him. But the only problem I'll say with him, if he plays on the left wing, let's say we want to play this 5 at the back stuff and we want to counter attack. he's not. He doesn't have that pace to kind of counter. So maybe he's better in the number 10. I would say. For me, I'd have him in the number 10 so he can play the ball evenly to right to left instead of just forcing the ball consistently on the left.
Okay. Yeah, he has this kind of touch. He has that, very different touch. He has the ability to score goals from the midfield, which I think any Arsenal fan would really appreciate. Now, if we got a kind of player like that right now, help out Aubameyang, create chances for him, create the threats, in front of goal. For me, I think he would be just incredible. But Zoom is back. Zoom, Philippe Coutinho.
Yes, please. Philippe Coutinho,
Yeah.
come to the carpet because he's a top baller. I'm telling you, Philippe Coutinho is a top baller.
Yeah,
His first
he
touch
is.
is exquisite. His creative vision of the game is just on another level. Philippe Coutinho, you may be 29, but it's time to come to the mighty Arsenal.
Yeah, and I think he's a player who needs revival. He's a player who needs to, I think he's just in the Gareth Bale situation. You want to go somewhere where you can become a hero again. You want to go somewhere where you can be that hero you were once, called. And I think Arsenal could be the right place for Felipe Coutinho. If he can get the facts right, he gets his composure, he comes down to the Emirates Stadium. The problem we have is creating chances. If he can do that, I think it's just going to become the hero. The hero. But there is now there are no reports of us linking. There are no reports of us, in being interested in Grealish as per now. But for me, it's another player I see, very versatile player, plays in the Premier League. That means he has Premier League experience. He has extended his contract with Aston Villa. That means it could be quite expensive, I suppose. But for me, I think Grealish is another player who has that kind of touch we might need. I don't know what you guys think, and I wanna involve you right now. Purpose. What do you think about Jack Grealish? If we could get Jack Grealish on board in the in January or in the summer, for me, I think he has the qualities to play in the Premier League. He has the qualities to play at a club like Arsenal, and he's a quite talented player.
Yeah, sorry, the connection for me is bugging. I feel it's Grealish is gonna be very. If we want to get him, it's gonna be a silly price. He just signed a contract with Aston Villa, and before the contract, they were asking for 80 million. So, by the chance we can't even afford Aouar, so there's no chance we should even be dreaming about Grealish. Unfortunately, it is what it is. But I feel like again, he's another one. He comes into the team and he instantly improves us. He'll become our best midfielder. So yeah, I would love him to come, but it's not gonna happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, of course. He's a very expensive player, But for me, I see him as a good option, as a nice option, as a decent option to the midfield lack of creativity we have at Arsenal. Zoom, we are talking about Jack Grealish. What are your thoughts on Grealish?
I mean, if he comes to Arsenal, he would change the whole football club.
Yeah.
He's just on another level. I just want him at Arsenal. He's Premier League proven, a creative player, could play on the left and centrally. He's just what we need at the moment.
Okay, right now we have a new member. You have a new member. Thank you so much for becoming a member. It really means a lot. Rachit Gak has become a member. It really, really means a lot. Thank you so much for becoming a member. And of course, joining in on the Arsenal podcast. Remember, we have daily streams on a daily basis. I can do as much as 4 streams, 2 streams. It depends on the schedule, but I'll try to give you as much content as you guys would want. I have Zahid Shah. Hello, Shah. How are you doing? I think his network is still disturbing. But the last topic we were talking about was Jack Grealish and maybe how he could, because for me, I look at him, I look at Grealish at Aston Villa, and I think this is a player who can transform the ability of Arsenal in the midfield, because what we need as Arsenal is just the ability to go forward, the ability to break down teams, the ability to change the unchangeable, the ability to, just to beat the small teams and the big teams. And for me, like the Manchester City game, I thought we could win that game. I just thought we were in position to beat Manchester City. The reason we didn't beat them is the players we had on the pitch were not good enough. If we can just get 2 more quality players, it's going to be a different story. It can be a very different story. But guys, there is a player long forgotten, but still in the minds of the fans. And for me, this guy is Maddison. He had a very great game against us. He did his thing, although he didn't, involve himself in a goal or something. But for me, I think he did this. He did his thing, shooting out of range and so on, giving trouble to the back four and so on. I don't know whether he could be very expensive. In the summer, he didn't move, obviously because of his injury. That was very clear, and he's just returning to the side. For me, if Arsenal could think about a player like James Maddison, I don't know how much it could be, around 50 million. I'm not really sure. But what do you think about Purpose? What do you think, Purpose? If we got a player like Maddison from Leicester City?
Yeah, I feel he'll be a good player because, again, he offers something different to our midfield. Because he likes to score goals. He likes to assist goals, especially on set pieces. He's very good at that. So maybe he's someone we can bring in. I feel like because he's English and he plays for Leicester, who often get a lot of money for their players. I think he's gonna be like 70 million. I know it sounds crazy, but he's probably gonna be that price. And we're very light on money, so I would love him to play for Arsenal, but it doesn't look good for us at all,
Yeah. I don't know. The last season he was really on fire with Ricardo Tillemans. Really, I don't think we need Tillemans. I think the player we need might be Maddison if we're going to get anyone out of Leicester City. Zoom, what do you think about Maddison? Do you think it would be an option? There behind the striking force, behind the 3 attackers.
Like Papa said, I would love him at Arsenal, but he's too expensive. He's English, plays for Leicester. Like they got 80 million for Mahrez, 90 million for Mahrez. He's just too expensive, but I would love him at Arsenal.
Yeah. Too expensive. Of course, English talent is always expensive, and you guys know that. There are no two ways about it. You either pay the money, like Manchester United paid 80 million for Harry Maguire, or you just don't get them. That is the rule with English talent. They are quite very expensive, and whoever wants to buy them needs to to have the money and be able and willing to spend it. Smash the like button. Don't forget that. Click the like button. It really means a lot to the podcast. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. As we conclude the January transfer show, let me talk about the defensive crisis around us. Because we have a lot of deadwood defensively. However, we don't have enough players going forward. It looks like William Saliba is not ready, according to Mikel Arteta. David Luiz gets injured. We bring in a Skodran Mustafi, a Socrates, or a Callum Chambers. For me, I don't fancy that. I don't fancy that kind of substitution where you bring off a player like David Luiz and then you bring on a player like Skodran Mustafi. Purpose, does the defense call for a January signing, a summer signing? Do you think we need more reinforcements in the summer, in that back line?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like we need an experienced centre back. We can't have these players like Mustafi. For me, in my opinion, I don't think we should allow Mustafi to play in the Premier League again because he rejected a new contract, and you know, he's not good enough anyway. But for me, I feel like just play him in Europa League. Don't play him in the Premier League. I don't want to see him. Socrates is obviously he can't play anymore. David Luiz is injured, and then Chambers he's just coming back from injury, and then we've got Pablo Mari as well, who's coming back from injury. So for me, I feel like most definitely we need to bring in another centre back, an experienced centre back. I don't have a particular idea of who we can get. Maybe if not as an experienced one, maybe just
A backup,
another.
a backup player.
Yeah, maybe a good one. That's what I'm saying. For me, I want to see Saliba play. I don't care what Arteta's saying about he's not ready. He's better. He's not going to do any worse than what we've got already. So for me, he needs to play. We saw with Leicester, they played Wesley Fofana. Fofana was Saliba's partner in Saint Etienne, and look how well he played. And apparently, what they say in France is Saliba is the better one. So what? If he's gonna come in, he's gonna do better. But I guess maybe it's because Gabriel is young himself. They don't want to put him next to him. But for me, I don't see the problem. I feel like we just bring him in, and we have a better defense.
Guna FC joins us on the podcast. How are you, Blood?
Yeah, good man.
Yeah. Here we are talking about the January transfer window and the problems affecting Arsenal. Of course, on the podcast, we talk all things Arsenal. We were talking about our defensive problems, but you can first tell us what you think, what you wanted to say before we involve you in our jazz.
Yeah, I think the team is good, to be honest. But I think we just lack that creativity in the final third. Like, against Leicester, we created chances, like 11 in the first half. But it's just that final third that's lacking us a lot. And we just need to fix it.
The final third. What would you suggest? Would you suggest a player from the inside the squad, something like Emily Smith Rowe? There are so many reports about Reece Nelson, becoming the player that could actually save our season. Or would you go for a player in the out in the transfer summer?
Out in the transfer window.
A transfer window.
Yeah, because Smith Rowe is a bit too young. So if we give him that role, it would be too much pressure for him. So for me, I'll go with Houssem Aouar.
You'll go for Aouar. Supposingly you don't get Aouar because there are so many clubs that are now interested in him, and it's going to be a lot of big competition. What if you don't get Houssem Aouar? Who would you go for then?
I'll go for the lad in Salzburg, the Szoboszlai one.
Szoboszlai.
Yeah, because he's been scoring good goals in the Champions League, like he did yesterday in the Bundesliga, Austrian Bundesliga. So if you can't get Aouar, I'll go with him, and he's cheap as well, only like €25. So I'll go for him then.
You go for the man himself, Szoboszlai. But okay, I was talking about the defensive problems, and I was saying that probably we need to work on the defensive as well because basically most of the defenders we have are dead wall. What do you think? Do we need a defensive option as soon as possible from the market?
No, I think we got enough defenders. Like Pablo Marie is in there as well. We got Saliba. We have got players, but the thing is that I think we'll go with one defender more in the summer. But I think that's enough. We just need to improve the backline a bit more. But we've got Partey as well. I think he can be transferred into a defender. So I'm fine with the defense. It's just that we were so shocking in defense last year and so good in attack. So it's just the opposite now. We're good in defense, but our attack is lacking.
Yeah.
So I'll go with defender next January, maybe.
A defender next January. This is one thing I really hate about Arsenal. I'm gonna be very frank and honest. It's one thing I really hate about Arsenal. All the time, when we are good this season about something, the next season we are just too bad. Last season we were very poor defensive wise. We tried to correct that in this season, and now we have thrown away our attack and our offensive. We look like we just look too bad. But anyway, I want to take some of the comments here. That's good because we have a lot of issues, especially with midfield. I hope they will do a better job. That is Volt. Agent God says at least get a loan deal, a loan deal done. Isco is a shout. Isco is a shout, considering that he is out of favor. I'm agree. Yeah, guys. What do you think about Isco Guna?
He's a bit old now. I won't take him.
You won't take him.
Probably his wages.
Okay.
His wages might be a problem. So
you might not take him because of the wages and the age.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an interesting player, though. He's an interesting player.
Yeah, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah, I understand your reasons. Yeah, Papos, what do you think about Isco? That midfield, do you think Isco would add some vibes and talent and anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. He comes in. Like all these midfielders we said, they all come in and they're better than what we got, in terms of attacking creative. But the thing I would say about Isco is maybe a few years ago we could have gone and gone for him, but I don't know. I feel maybe the time is up because he's not performing in Real Madrid, but I guess he's not getting opportunity. But for me, I don't know. I'm not sure about Isco. Yeah. I'm not sure about him.
Okay. Nathan says great setup, Kosi. Thank you, Blood. Trying to make things better. Aouar is better. That is Daniel says Aouar is better. Omar says, can we get Aouar in the January transfer window? It will be a hard deal for me. We've got to go for Szoboszlai. Yeah. How are you, bro? How are you, Komakech? I'm very fine. He has a release clause with the price won't rise. Brings Szoboszlai to the carpet. Edu, that is Nathan. Yeah, I think many people would prefer Szoboszlai if you fail to get Houssem Aouar. We want to join Blood. The link is already supplied. Aouar is going to be a hard deal in January transfer window. We've got to go for Szoboszlai. He's a good player. Thank you for the comment there. The Luded says, provide us with the link.
Don't you think that we need a new right back? Because I think Arteta knows that he's got Kieran Tierney who can actually cross the ball into the box, and he knows that Bellerin can't do that. So we might actually need two players.
Yeah, I look
most
at
of the work is done on the left.
Yeah. I look at that right back position and I really get at times confused. I ask myself, do we have the right options? Do we have the right players? We have three right backs there. You have Cedric, you have Ainsley Maitland-Niles who can play like that, and Heki Bellerin. What do you think about Cedric, bro? What do you think about Cedric playing, getting some game time? For me, I think he's better than what we have. Better than Ainsley, better than Bellerin.
He can actually cross the ball to the box.
Yeah. I think he has some better aspects than these other guys. What do you think about Purpose? What do you think about Bellerin? Cedric.
Well, first thing, just to start on Bellerin, I don't think Bellerin will ever get dropped because Arteta, he loves him, so I don't think he'll ever get dropped. Cedric, I like Cedric. I think he's a good backup. Whether he's ready to be a starter, I don't know. For me, he's someone that offers more going forward than he does than Bellerin does. For me, if I'm being honest, I want to see Maitland-Niles more because I feel like defensively he's not that bad as what people say he is, and going forward he offers something that that Bellerin can't, and that's overlap. When Pepe plays with Maitland-Niles, Pepe instantly plays better with him. I remember so many times we played Manchester United.
That's true.
Right back we had Maitland-Niles, who right mid was Pepe. Pepe had a great game, but people forget it was Maitland-Niles that was helping him a lot as well. So for me, I feel like I don't know. The thing is with right back, we've got three players that can play, but only one is playing all the time, and that's probably the worst one. So it is what it is. But I don't think Bellerin will ever get dropped. I feel like he needs to get dropped because. And one thing I'm going to say as well, in terms of crossing the ball, we can say we need someone to cross the ball. But with Aubameyang and Lacazette in the box, they're not gonna head the ball. They don't like heading the ball. You know, especially Lacazette. Tierney gave the ball right to his head and he complained. He missed the ball. He said he wanted it on the floor. So for me, in terms of crossing, we done it against Leicester. Tierney crossed the ball about 3 times in the game. Good balls. Lacazette wasn't anywhere near. Same as Bellerin. Even Bellerin crossed the ball. It says something when Bellerin crosses the ball and the striker is nowhere to be seen. So for me, I feel most definitely we need to change up the right back because Bellerin is too negative. It doesn't work for him, for me. So I think Cedric is a good idea.
Okay, there comes my man, J7. Welcome back, Blood.
Hey, thank you very much, man. I just had to have some little fish and chips right there, man. Sorry about that, man.
It's okay, it's okay, bro. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay, bro. And here we are. You know, you're coming back at the right time. We are talking about the right back.
Wasn't deluded on the comments.
Yeah, I saw him, but I think he went off. Yeah, I think he went off. But J7, what do you think about what do you think about the right back? Eki Bellerin, is he the better option of all the three, Ainsley Maitland-Niles and Cedric? What do you think, J7?
Yeah, I think for me anyway, I'm repping my Jamaican brothers right here as well, man. It's Ainsley Maitland-Niles for me. He's more athletic, he's sharper, he's not afraid, he's not afraid to take as many risks. Sorry, my child is just running around headless. He's not afraid to take risks, as I feel like Bellerin's injuries have sort of hindered his progress, where he's a bit more afraid to take risks. So for me, it's Ainsley Maitland-Niles, followed by Bellerin, and then I'd put Cedric last out of all of them. But for me, Maitland-Niles has got to play a game, and I don't know what he's done wrong to not get in this team over Bellerin. But to be honest, Bellerin has been somewhat in form at the moment with the assists, and he's doing a few tackles here and there. But to be honest, I think we need more PMP, the pace and power of Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
Okay, Eki Bellerin, Cedric, Ainsley Maitland-Niles. If you ask me who's the better one, I'm not really sure. But if you're playing a back four, if you're playing forward back, defenders at the back, for me, I would go for Cedric. If you're playing 3, I'd go for Ainsley. And there is no way I'm going to give Eki Bellerin a chance. He's just so inconsistent. He's a good player, but very inconsistent. And I just hate inconsistent players. But in a back 4, I think Cedric works well for me. He works well in a back 4. back 3, then you would go for the only man, Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Just think about that. But we also have another issue at hand, which is the goalkeeper issue. Last season it was okay, but after selling Emi Martinez to Aston Villa, it seems that Leno is becoming too comfortable and is making mistakes for fun. I'll start with Gunnar. Gunnar, what do you think about the goalkeeping issue? Do you think Leno is going to improve? Is he under pressure? Is he too relaxed? Why is he making so many problems this season than there were last season?
I actually do not know, but we can't disrespect him because he was literally our lifesaver last season in Unai's reign.
Yeah.
He was literally saving everything. We could have lost against Watford. We had 30 shots conceded. We could have lost that 10-0. But I think it's just because he thinks that no one's there now, because no one's there to compete with him now. So he's like, okay, boss, the Mikel picked me, so I'm just gonna do whatever I want now. So
yeah.
But we can't disrespect him yet. It's early in the season, so we'll see how this season goes. Yeah,
it's still early in the season, but of course, there is a decline in performance, and we've got to accept that. We have to, respect. He's a good player, but there is a decline in performance, and I think for me, this is due to absence of competition, because last season this guy was among the best 3 performers of the club. Right now, the same man cannot actually go 3 games without a stupid mistake. Purpose, what do you think about the goalkeeping issue? Do we need to sign a serious backup goalkeeper? To Leno?
To be quite honest, I think we're fine in the position we are. I just feel like with Leno, we can't play him in the Europa League. Just play Ronison. Give this Ronison guy a chance, because if we keep playing Leno in all these games, he's gonna feel like, oh, I'm relaxed. I don't need to worry about who's next after me. Just play him in the Premier League so he can focus just on that, so he can stop these mistakes, because the mistakes he's making is in the Europa League, and then he's going into the next game feeling, I just made a mistake in the last game. I have a doubt. So just play him in the Premier League, play Ronison in the Europa League, and if he does well, then Leno might step up, because he's like, oh, this guy is actually good. So yeah, that's what I feel in that situation.
Okay. J7, Leno is Leno a problem? Of course, there are things that he does wrongly, and you think that is just not for him, especially starting the ball at the back. I think that is not his thing. Passing the ball and starting the ball, that is not his thing, and he just doesn't do it well. But he's a good shot stopper, and I know that he's a good shot stopper. He has proven me at Bayer Leverkusen. He has proven me, at Arsenal last season. What is wrong with Leno, and what could be the solution?
I think maybe it's his confidence. I think maybe it's his confidence in playing out of the back, because you've seen the amount of times we've been shaky with him. You've seen and even for me, look how confident the defense were when Martinez was there. I'm not going to say, oh, we need Martinez back and this and that, but I feel like he lacks confidence in what he's doing. Like you did say, Kossi, man, he's a great shot stopper, man. There's only a few people out there better than him at shot stopping. But I don't know. He really needs to evolve right now and sort of take his chance. Like I think you were saying earlier that do we need another serious backup goalkeeper? And I think yes, because there's no one else pushing for that position. It's kind of like the same with who is it? Like Aubameyang. There's no one really pushing for that position where he's at right now. Like there's no one making him be like, you know what, I'm going to take this game and I'm going to be better. Because when we had Martinez for Leno, I feel like that was so healthy for our squad. With Leno, it would make Leno just see what's happening and just like, really up his game. But I feel like losing, when you don't have people pushing other players, it's like they're safe. They keep it safe. And, I mean, it's for me, we need something behind him at least. Or we need him to at least come out of his shell and get confidence. What about you, Kossi, man?
Yeah, it's true. For me, the solution might be trying to get someone who can actually be a threat to Leno. Look at goalkeepers like Kepa, goalkeepers like David De Gea. When goalkeepers get too comfortable, you just forget that they are good goalkeepers. They make you forget that they have the quality. They have, you make you forget that they are this good. And this is happening to Leno, but I think it's really going to cost us. If we could only go for, there was this Brentford guy, he was called
David Raya. David Raya.
Exactly. I think he was 10 million, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is that Brentford weren't willing to sell.
Okay. If we could only get in David Raya at the time, for me, I think he would have been such a threat to this, to ban Leno. But I think he's too comfortable and he just makes these mistakes, recklessly. I don't mean to offend him. He's a good goalkeeper. I love him. I appreciate him for what he did last season. He saved our season, almost saved our season, although we finished 8th, but he was there for us when we needed him, but he needs to do better. More comments. Aouar is to Arsenal is my dream come true. Imagine having Gabi, Pate, and Aouar. That is the podcast from Bulambuli. We need Szoboszlai. This is Weasley with the comments. C waving at us. Samil Sam says, good evening, Gunners. How are you, blood? Agent Ghost says, hey, Samil. Of course, all Arsenal N. That is Okopu. Thank you so much. Opuku. United. Of course, United is not. It's not time for United right now. Fake news. Let's be real. We are not. We are discussing. We are not. Really giving news. News are not getting Celtic forward. Of course, the Celtic forward. It will depend on how much we have. If you get, if we have the money, no one says we cannot get, Odson Edward. Houssem Staff brother, thank you so much. I have a member, of course, new member there. Thank you so much for joining as a member on the podcast. Mohammed says, yeah, I really don't remember what he was talking about. Bigging up to Purpose. Purpose, someone appreciates you here.
Thank you.
It's called C. I think it's called C. Fofana is good. Yeah, I think Fofana is good, guys. And against our game, against Arsenal, he was really brilliant. He was really brilliant. Ainsley Maddison is the better player in the right back. That is Agent Ghost. And then Oscar Torres says, we must buy a striker in the midfield, and the January transfer window is my dream when it comes in the January transfer window. Of course, guys, thank you so much for everybody who has joined me right now. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It means a lot. And subscribe, hit the notification button after subscribing, but smash the like button. Give me a like on the video. Purpose, Guna FC, and J7, thank you so much for joining me, guys. I want you to always be back. Yeah, see you guys. I want you to come back whenever we are live. We digest Arsenal matters.
I need to go watch United get live tonight.
All right, Blood. All right, Blood. Okay, I'm also going for Champions League. I think I should.
Yeah, Champions League.
Yeah, man.
Big up.
Okay, guys. Thanks everybody who has been on the show. Thank you everybody who has been on the show. I always have live streams at 7 p.m. I have live streams early in the morning at 10 a.m. Those are the basic live streams. But whenever I have a lot of content, I always come in with videos in between. That is at 3 p.m. and 10 p.m. So guys, have a very, very blessed night. I love you all and thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you.